The Ironwood Forest National Monument is really unique. It's very close to Tucson and right outside of Marana, but it seems worlds away. It's a very undeveloped area, and it's 129,000 acres of public land, and it's really enjoyable to get out and explore it on your own. It's a very self-directed exploration.
Well, it is named after a tree. It's not the reason the monument was created, but it is named after this tree because it's so prevalent out here. Many locations have the ironwood tree in it. It likes to grow on the bajadas and the slopes of these hills around here. The flowers come about late April, early May. It's a pea flower that's with pink and white and lavender petals. It gives it a pinkish hue. Some of the trees are darker. Just gorgeous. The seeds, the beans it puts on are edible. It's a great tree. It's a long-lived tree compared to something like a Palo Verde that might only live 100 years at most. Ironwoods can live hundreds of years.
It is designed to be primitive and to stay primitive. So it is unlike a national park experience or even going to Forest Service area. You're not going to find restrooms and you won't find water. You definitely want to come prepared. You'll find there's no paved roads within the monument, and some of the roads are challenging. They require high clearance on many, four-wheel drive on some, so you really do need a good map, and roads aren't marked. So you need to have a little sense of where you want to go, how to get there. It's a very self-directed exploration. It's very primitive, and I believe that there is a high demand for that type of place, and I think it's only going to get I think we're only going to see an increase in that as the populations continue to increase, where people really want to feel like they can get away from it all.
I made my first visit out here in 1987 and just fell in love with it, and hiked and hiked and hiked and just studied the heck out of the place for many, many years. I'm still studying it. Mostly the vegetation. I'm very interested in desert vegetation and floras, and I've put together a flora of each individual mountain in this national monument, as well as the whole national monument, the valleys included. It is very rich. It's got close to 600 species that we've discovered out here so far, and many of those, probably over half of them, are very small plants that most people would walk right past and not even notice, much less realize it's something different.
Ragged Top is known as sort of the gem of the Ironwood Forest National Monument. It's a unique geologic formation, and what you're looking at is an exposed vent of the inside of a volcano that used to exist. You're looking at rhyolite that's left over, and the outside of it has really eroded away to give it that unique form. It's thought to be about 22 million years old. And as those crevices have formed and that unique cracks and crags, it's formed these microclimates that have really supported a huge number of unique plant species.
Rocks on the south side hold heat in the winter. The rocks on the north side make shady, cool microclimates. They shed rain into crevices and keep things moister, and so it's a very rich habitat compared to any other place on the Ironwood Forest National Monument. We've got 593 species on the monument, and over 400 of those can be found just right here on Ragged Top.
In addition to the plant species, it also provides really great habitat for the area's last remaining native herd of bighorn sheep. So we have desert bighorn sheep up there. This area is favored for lambing of the desert bighorn sheep. And our herd up there is really special. It was almost wiped out in early 2003, 2004, right around that time. Some goats got loose and introduced two diseases, and Game and Fish had to go out and administer some antibiotics by being helicoptered up there to the very top. It's very precarious footing for humans, let alone sheep. And it was only because a grad student was noticing some odd behavior of the sheep that it was caught, and we're very, very fortunate. Now the herd has come back.
What does it for me? I just think it's the beauty, the fact that it's so close to Tucson yet fairly untouched, and just the variety of plants, and the topography, the animals, everything about it.
One thing I want to make sure to mention is the archaeology. It's not easy to see because sites aren't marked, but the Ironwood Forest National Monument was set aside because it contains evidence dating back over 5,000 years ago, and it's very prolific. Anywhere from evidence of old villages and ball courts, trincheras, which were the agricultural fields and the watering systems that were used by ancient civilizations. A lot of evidence in petroglyphs scattered throughout the monument, really dating back to the Hohokam period. And there's a lot of evidence that they were here that has been sort of preserved within this landscape. And there's a lot of opportunity for scientific exploration for archaeologists to come out and uncover some of these sites and tell us more about that history. Very small portion of the monument has been surveyed for archaeological evidence, but the part that has been surveyed has been instrumental in indicating it's very rich, and the history is definitely worth preserving. It's a national treasure of archaeological history that's found out here. I personally really like it because it has a wilderness quality to it. It's, wilderness characteristic, and, conservation is the top priority for the area, and it's a young national monument. So how that's managed is still getting formed, and that's something that the Friends of Ironwood Forest is very engaged in, is setting the tone and helping the Bureau of Land Management look ahead to how do we conserve this national treasure for future generations.